I hope we managed to show you folks a little bit about ToolHound and what we do and give you an idea. Going to try and keep things flowing along. I don't want to take a whole lot of time. I'm hoping that we can be done in roughly 55 minutes to an hour. I will ask that we hold our questions. If you have a question as we go along, just jot it down, and then we'll have a question and answer at the end. If we don't do it that way, we could be here for several hours. So I think it's best if we do it that way, if you don't mind. Just to give you a kind of an outline of what we're doing. I see Chuck, you made it in. Great. An outline of what we're going to do this afternoon. We're going to talk a little bit about who ToolHound is, give you a little bit of background about who we are. Then we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to do later on the demo. We're going to introduce our guest speaker this afternoon. We'll do the demo. I plan to spend about 40 minutes in the software showing you around and taking a look at the software. And then after that, Ed Dreesen from Nova Chemical is going to talk a few minutes about their experiences with ToolHound, give you a little bit of an overview of what it's like from a user standpoint, and then we'll have a question and answer period. So again, I'm hoping we can get this wound up in about 55 minutes to an hour. That said, again, please just hold your questions to the end, and at the end, I'll be glad to answer any questions that we have at that point in time. I can hear there's a number of people that are joining now, so great. We have started. We will continue on. It looks like there's about 8 or 9 of us now that have joined the meeting. So let's get started, and those that get here a little late can catch up as we go along. First thing, who are we? Who is ToolHound? ToolHound has been the leader in tool and equipment tracking systems for over 20 years now. We originally started actually in 1985. So if I did my math correctly, we would be at the 25-year mark right now. Our current staff have more than 30 years experience with the product. ToolHound is a company, and just a little background, ToolHound is a company that for the last 25 years, we are a company that is primarily really in 3 areas, and 3 equal areas. We're not a company that built a tool tracking system 10 years ago and are a sales company, a marketing organization. We are as much a development company as we are a sales company, as we are a support. And we're really divided in pretty equally in those 3 areas: development, support, and sales. Most of what our products are built on are, as it says here on the screen here, customer feedback. We have been for years. The last 5 years, I would say at least, for the ToolHound desktop product, all the updates that we've been doing have been, or most of the updates, I should say, have been customer-driven enhancements that our customers have asked us if we could do things different or better, and we've looked at it and said, you know what, yeah, we could change that, and that would work better, and so on and so forth, and that makes it into an update. So that's really who we are. Tool tracking is our core business. It is our only business. We're not a company that does accounting software and has a tool tracking program as a sideline. Tool tracking is 100% of our focus and 100% of our efforts, okay, day in and day out. And it has been that way throughout the history of the company. Okay, enough said there. This afternoon we are going to go in and we're going to go in and explore the ToolHound program. After we've done that, we're going to have Ed Dreesen from Nova Chemicals talk to us again, like I mentioned earlier. Ed has very graciously accepted the role today of talking about what ToolHound has done for Nova Chemicals. I just want to talk a little bit. Okay, ToolHound, we have really 3 different, I'll just call them methods of delivery for our product. Okay, we have ToolHound Desktop, and ToolHound Desktop is designed for a single location. Okay, it can run on a local area network. It works off of a single database. It allows for an unlimited number of assets and an unlimited number of employees to be issuing items to, as is illustrated here. And you'll notice here that we have a couple of users that are working off the program, and we have numerous scanners that can also work at the same time as well. There's no limit on that either. The other product we have is ToolHound On-Site. This is our web-based product. Okay, again, it can run on a PC, on a local area network, or it can be made available via the internet. It was designed from the ground up for multiple locations, okay, for companies with multiple locations, whether it's multiple, tool cribs or job sites, or branches across the country. This product again was built from the ground up to manage that via the internet. And it's browser-based, client-server, and it does provide for unlimited users again if you have a lot of different people that need to go in and run the program. Lastly, we have ToolHound Online. ToolHound Online and ToolHound On-Site are really the same product. The only difference is with ToolHound On-Site, our customers purchase a license for the software and they run it on their own server network. ToolHound Online, we provide as a subscription-based service. The application and the data reside on our secure servers, and again, we provide that as a service to our customers. Again, it's internet-based. It's a browser-based client server. Again, it can handle multiple tool cribs, multiple job sites, and with our system, it's a way of offloading the IT aspect of having to run servers and programs and things like that. You offload that onto us, and we look after all that stuff. We have a redundancy systems built in for fail-safe in a secure server environment. So we do all that. So it's really the three. There's the single location. If for multiple location, then we're at ToolHound Online or ToolHound On-Site. Just wanted to quickly touch on the hardware aspect of things. As we go along, we'll talk a little bit more about this, but the ToolHound system, we use barcodes and scanner technology to quickly and accurately collect the data, the transaction data. I've shown a couple of examples here. The top example is likely, by far the most common scanner that we have in the field today is our Dolphin 9900, okay? And a phenomenal unit. It can work in both batch and wireless. It runs Windows Mobile. You can run other applications on it as well. These units are an industrial quality unit. They're built to withstand being dropped onto concrete from 5 feet. You can do that all day if you wished. You can actually use them in the rain. It's not going to destroy them, that kind of thing. The lower one here is the Symbol MK2000. This is what we use for our self-serve situation where you may have an after-hours unmanned crib, that kind of thing. And this particular device, we've set it up as a self-serve scanner. We actually, if you've been in Walmart, you've likely seen this unit on the wall there for checking prices. We actually stole this from the retail industry. The idea of the self-serve kiosk is it's very, very simple to use. Okay, it's totally intuitive. You walk up and it says, okay, scan your barcode. Okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to do an issue or return, that kind of thing? It leads you right through the process. Lastly, the RFID I want to talk about a little bit today. We do offer an RFID solution as well. The latest version of ToolHound Mobile now supports the Intermix CN3 and the ultra-high frequency radio frequency ID reader. This particular device, now if you look in the illustration here, obviously to the right of the saber saw or the skill saw is the scanner itself. It's actually, this particular unit will do both barcodes and RFID tags. So you could have and typically you likely would, in most situations, have a hybrid system where you have some barcoding where you want it and have RFID on other items. One scanner will then read both of them. There are three really, and I'll talk about this, three really main benefits to the RFID. The first is that it can read multiple tags simultaneously, which obviously results in quicker transaction times. Okay, you can read a multiple, 4 or 5 or 10 barcodes, RFID tags at the same time. The second advantage is that it doesn't require line of sight. So you could put your RFID tag, in this illustration, you could put it inside the casing of the skill saw, okay, provided it's a plastic casing, of course, and now that the tag is out of the way, it can still be read, but it's protected and it'll be in there for the life of that unit. Lastly, is the fact that the tags do allow you to a greater read range, okay? And by that, then it will allow you, in some cases, to actually locate the items you're looking for as well. So that's RFID as it is as it sits today. Okay, let's see how I'm doing. I guess I'm on schedule here yet. Hopefully, I guess what we're going to do right now, folks, is we're going to jump into the ToolHound program, and we're going to take a quick look around and show you how it all works. What I've chosen today to show is the ToolHound desktop program. Okay, as far as the functionality between ToolHound Desktop, ToolHound Onsite, and ToolHound Online, the functionality is about a 95 to, I would say, 97% similarity. Okay, there's a little bit different look and feel to them, but as far as, again, as the actual functionality, they're very, very similar. They do things in a very similar fashion. When I talk about ToolHound and what we do, I really break it into 3 things. The first item is asset identification. And when I talk about asset identification, I'm talking about the information that we maintain in the system. For example, we have a part number, a description. We can put in a category, subcategory, manufacturer, what you paid for it, when you purchased it, how long is the warranty, all this information. It goes into the system, and that's part of the asset identification. The other part of asset identification is the barcoding. We barcode our individual items individually. Our bulk and consumable items, we barcode the bin shelf to where we keep them. So that's asset identification. The second area is asset location. And how we manage this asset location is with the issue and return. We issue an item to an individual or to a location, and we return it. We know where it is or who has that item, okay? And that's how we maintain asset location information. Lastly, it's asset management. And that's the third and last area. In asset management, we perform a number of ways. We have, for example, a maintenance module that allows you to set up a schedule of maintenance and make sure that items are being serviced on a timely basis. And we track that maintenance history as well, so you have a complete history of the assets that are being maintained. There's also a replenishment module that allows you to automate the reordering of items in your inventory. It would primarily apply to consumable items and materials, things like that nature. We also have a rental module that will track and manage a rental charge for items that you're issuing from your tool inventory. So that's 3 ways we manage. Another way that we manage our inventory is with the reporting. There's a huge amount of data that's in the ToolHound system about your tool inventory, and the reporting capabilities are just a way of taking that data and putting it in a format that makes sense and that you can then draw some business intelligence from to better manage your inventory. Okay? So again, the first area is the asset identification. In ToolHound, we start off with our maintain part number. The part number is the foundation. Everything that's in ToolHound has a part number, whether it's a individual piece item, a piece of equipment, a consumable, a bulk item, or a part. They all have a part number. So the part number is user defined. Once we've given it a part number, then we decide, okay, what type of inventory is this? And we type inventory in 5 ways. We have bulk, individual, consumable, parts, and equipment. Now, quickly explain each of these so you understand how we do this. Individual and equipment, the software treats these exactly the same. These are items that we individually barcode and we track on an individual basis. I'll give you an example here now. This compressor, 2 horsepower compressor, is a pretty good example of an individual. We added the equipment category, or type, pardon me, just provide a little bit more clarity. And we define equipment as something of significant dollar value, and it's an item that would require regular routine repair and maintenance. So again, individual at 2 horsepower electric compressor would fit that pretty good. A good example of equipment might be, say, a forklift. Okay, it fits those other 2 criteria. Next, we have bulk. A bulk item is an item that we do not individually barcode. We're going to barcode the bin shelf drawer where we keep this item. It's something, though, that we issue out. We do expect it to be returned, and we track and have the item. I'll give you an example that I use commonly. In my tool room, I have a drawer full of claw hammers. And Bob comes in and says he needs 4 claw hammers. I'm going to scan Bob's barcode, okay, to identify who I'm giving it to. I'm going to go to the bin or the drawer where I keep the hammers. I'm going to scan the barcode on the drawer that tells me it's a claw hammer. I'm going to enter a quantity of 4. I'm going to take 4 hammers, and I'm going to give them to Bob. Now, I know that Bob has 4 claw hammers, and I expect Bob to return 4 claw hammers. I just don't care which 4. As long as I get 4 claw hammers back, I'm happy. That's a bulk item. And again, usually a bulk item is an item of lower value, and it's an item that you either don't wish to individually barcode, or it doesn't lend itself to being individually barcoded. Last, we have consumables and parts. Consumables and parts, the software treats these exactly the same. These are items that we do not individually barcode. Again, we barcode the bin shelf drawer where we keep them. These are items that go out. We do not expect them to be returned. Okay? We added the parts type just, again, to provide a little bit more clarity, and we define the part as something that is used in the repair and maintenance of other items in your inventory. So a good example of a consumable might be a pair of safety goggles. A good example of a part would be an oil filter for the forklift. Okay? So in this case, we have set this up as an individual, and we put in the description. Okay? Once we have that in here, I can go in and I can put notes and pictures in about this item. Okay, I can put a picture in here and notes if I so want to keep track of that. I can put a category and a subcategory. The category and subcategory are strictly for reporting purposes. Okay, I can go back and I can run a report for compressors as a category and take a look at that information. I can put in a manufacturer, model, a size, all this good stuff. Down here it says max days out. And if I put a value of, say, 7 in here, what I'm telling the software is I don't want anybody to have one of my 2 horsepower electric compressors for more than 7 days at a time. What will happen now is every time I issue one of these compressors out, since I put the value of 7 in there, the software is going to put a return date 7 days from the date of issue every time I issue one of these out. I can put any value in there I wish. If I don't put any value in there, the software will not put a return date. Okay? That return date, incidentally, can be edited by the person doing the issuing at the time of the issue. Okay? It's not etched in stone. So that if at the time of the issue, the person that's getting it says, I need this for 2 weeks, well, okay, the issuer can change that due date to 2 weeks out. Next one here says max issue. If I put a value of 1 in here, what I'm telling the software is I don't see why anybody needs more than 1 of my 2 horsepower electric compressors at a time. If my friend Bob comes in and he gets issued a compressor and he comes back 2 days later and he requests the second one, when I go to issue the second compressor, because I have a value of 1 in there, I'm going to get a warning come up on my scanner that tells me this exceeds the max issue. I stress this. The software will not prevent the issue of a second or a third or a fourth or subsequent compressor. We're going to provide a warning on the scanner so that the person that's doing the issuing knows that there might be a situation here that they need to look into. Okay? We then leave it up to the discretion of the person that's doing the issuing to decide whether or not they should go ahead and issue that compressor to our friend Bob or whatever. And I'll mention this while we're here. Our philosophy is that the software, the ToolHound program, should never prevent somebody from getting what they need to do their job. Okay? We'll provide the information to the person who's doing the issuing, and we'll leave it up to their discretion to figure out whether or not they should issue that item. Next, it says certification. If this piece of equipment required that the user of it has some type of training, licensing, certification, we can add it here. When we put in our employees, we put in what certifications, licensing that they have. If I go to issue an item that does have a required certification, the software is going to go look at the individual that's requested the item and see if they have the required certification. If they don't have the required certification, a warning again would come up on the scanner telling the issuer, this person is not certified for this item. Again, I stress this, the software will not prevent the issue. They're going to tell the issuer that there might be a situation here that they want to check out for safety reasons, and then again, we leave it up to their discretion. There may be a very good reason why that person's requesting the item. Over on the right-hand side, there's a number of things in here we can track: when we purchased it, what we paid for it, where we bought the item, what the warranty is, so on and so forth. There's a couple of user fields here. I can track some additional information if I like. One more thing I just want to talk about on this page before we move on is that there's a box a little here that says, is this a kit? ToolHound has the ability of allowing you to set up a kit. And if, for example, you have a welder's kit in your inventory, and it's all in one kit bag, and it all goes out together every time, and there's 10 or 15 or 20 items in that, in that bag. There's hoses and gauges and so on and so forth. Rather than sit there and scan out those 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 items every time that kit goes out, you can assign that kit one barcode. And you issue that one barcode, the software knows that you issued those 5, 10, 15, 20 items. Okay? Just a way of streamlining and making it faster to issue and return items. So we have a part number now for our 2-horsepower compressors in the system. Sure. What we're going to do next is we're going to go to the individually barcoded screen. We have a part number, and now we individually barcode. I'm just going to add a new one to our inventory just to show you what we're going to do here. So we're going to give it a barcode. And in my next barcode on my roll is 5689. I'm going to enter the serial number. I'm putting a new compressor into my inventory. I'm going to put the serial number in here. That gives me a cross-reference, and I'm going to tell the system, okay, that barcode and that serial number are part number 22002, which in this case is a 2-horsepower electric compressor. And I'm going to save it. We now added one more compressor to our inventory. Okay? If I go back to my maintain part number screen, and I click on the barcode tab, we see now we have 2 barcodes assigned to that part number. If I had 10 of these compressors, they're all the same compressor, they would all have the same part number, but they would have their own unique barcode and serial number in the system. Okay? There's the one we just added, which is the 5689. Okay? Now, if I was using the maintenance module, this is where I would go in and I would assign a service task. And I'm going to assign, I've only have one in here, but I could have hundreds in here if I wished. I'm going to assign a service task to have this, my compressor is inspected every 6 months. And I'm going to save this. So now I've gone in previously and defined this service task of every an inspection every 6 months. Now I've assigned it to the part number. Because I've assigned this service task at the part number level, in this case 2, but all of my compressors are going to have that service task because I've assigned it at the part number level. I can assign a service task at the barcode level, in which case it would apply to only one specific asset. Let me just close it and start this thing. That's it. Now if we go in and we find our compressor here, is this one, and I click on the service requirements, there we have it. It has that service requirement. That's the compressor we just added a moment ago. Here we have a service requirement to be inspected every 6 months. What I need to do now is I need to go in and tell it, okay, well, when was it last done? So we can figure out when it needs to be done next. And I'm going to tell it was last done today, and I'm going to save it. And as soon as I save it, it tells me that, okay, on the 9th of September of this year, we need to do a service on an inspection on this compressor. Once the 9th of September rolls around, this will show up on the service due report, telling us there's a service we need to do on this item. After the 9th of September, every time we issue or return this asset, and if we haven't done the service yet, it's going to pop up on the scanner and tell us that there's a service due on this item. It will also, close this out, it'll also appear here in our action items as one item due for service. Okay? So as soon as I log in the morning, I'll know what today if I have anything that's due for service. So there's a number of ways that we're notified, and it will also show up on what we call a service due report. Okay? And this is a time-based report. As of today, do I have anything? No, I don't. But if I change this to the 9th month, in here, 09, and now I have a service due show up for an inspection on, well, I got two. There's the inspection on that compressor. So if I was to run this report on the 9th of September, those two items are going to show up as service dues. Okay. So that's the nuts and bolts, the asset ID part of the program. Okay, asset identification, asset location. It's pretty straightforward. This afternoon, I'm doing it manually, but in a real life scenario, what we're going to do is we're going to scan. So we're going to scan the barcode of our employee. Okay. Uh-oh. I have a new keyboard, and it's not good. Why is it doing this? I guess I should have checked this out. It's got a new keyboard, and it doesn't like to do what I'm asking aside here. Oh, well, this is not good. I get it lock on. Why is it like this? What's that?
Is your number lock on? Your keyboard, the number lock.
All right. Well, I'm trying to use the function key, F2. It says F2 on my keyboard, but for some reason it's, I don't get this. Give me 1 second here. Hang on. I'm going to just grab my old keyboard. Hang on. If I can alleviate that problem here. Okay, let's see. Oh. Okay. Seems like my old keyboard. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to scan, pardon me for that, we're going to scan the barcode of our friend Bernie, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to scan the barcodes of the items that we're going to be issuing to him. And we're going to issue him that new compressor, and we're going to say it's an issue. We can just keep on going and keep on scanning. That's what we can. Tab works. Isn't that strange? Okay. And we're going to issue him a drill, and we can just keep on scanning. All we do is scan, scan, scan the items that we're going to issue to him, and then at the end we hit OK, and boom, we've issued those items to our friend Bernie. If we pull up Bernie again, and we hit the tool out button low down the lower left-hand side, it says, oh, he has a compressor and an electric cordless drill. Okay? There's the two items that he has currently checked out. If I click in here, I'm going to do a return on the item. It's going to return, and I just want to return the one item just to quickly show you here. On the return, I can change the status from OK to damaged, repair, lost, or write-off. I'll explain each of these so you understand how we deal with them. Damaged, the item is still serviceable, but it is damaged. I can still issue it out and use it. Repair, it's not serviceable. Okay, I need to fix the item before we can use it again. If I'm using the maintenance module and I return an item repair, the system will automatically create a work order for this asset. Lost, well, it's better that Bernie comes and tells us this drill is lost and we think it's there and we can use it and we have access to it. If he returns it lost today and Friday he finds it under the seat of his pickup truck, all we have to do is return it okay, and it's back in our inventory. No harm, no foul. And then lastly, written off, it went into the dumpster. Okay. We'll return this lost. And we hit okay. And now he returned that and he came in and said, hey, that drill's gone. I have no idea where it is. What's going to happen is it's going to show up on our loss and damage report. Okay? And I have a report here that will tell me the time-based report, and it tells me over a certain period of time. Here we have our friend Bernie, and he lost the drill, and I have the value, so now I'm down $170 on my tool inventory, okay, until that drill is found, which it may or may not happen. Okay. This report, again, is a time-based report, so I could go back and run this report over the course of a year, 2 years, or whatever kind of time frame I wanted to look at. I can also drill down a little bit and say, okay, well, I don't want damaged, I don't want written off, I don't want repair ones. I just want to know which ones were lost, or I can just select damage, written off, or whatever. Okay. Or as we did earlier, we can have them all in one report. Okay. If we go back in, and this one quick story here, what happens? Okay, I got to go to this keyboard, and we're going to go in. We're going to take this. Oh, here we go. In this drill. Oh boy. Hang on. I don't know which one it was here. Okay. All right. All right. We're going to go in. Here we go again. Whoops. Two keyboards doesn't work good. Okay. We're going to take this drill, and we're going to return it okay. And now it's back in inventory. We go back in here now. A second ago, this would have reported that this drill was lost. Now they're both back in stock. Okay, so I have two drills, and they're both back in stock. If I go in the individual barcoded screen and I look up the very next item here, there's our drill. I look at the transaction history, and it shows me here. The item was issued to Bernie, it was returned lost, and then it was later on returned okay. So there's three transactions, and two of them relate to the return. The other thing is, again, there's our notes and pictures on here as well. Anyway, let's go now. If we look at the loss and damage report, okay, we'll see now that it's still there. Okay, we still have our friend Bernie on the loss and damage report, but the quantity is now 0 and the dollar value is 0. So we know that the item was lost, but we also know that it was found, it was returned lost, but it's been found and returned to our inventory. So we have a 0 loss on it. But again, it is still on this report because it did have a status of lost at one time. Okay. Anyway, I'm getting too deep into that, but so the checkout and return, again, it's really easy. It's straightforward. On the checkout and return, one thing I should mention here as well, we can go into our utilities and we can set it up so that we can add a cost code, okay, on an issue. Now when I go to do an issue, we can scan the barcode of the employee. Okay, Gerald here. And I can scan the barcode of the job. Oh, I don't have any here. Okay, I guess I can't put it in. But I can put a job number in here. Now, for example, I could even create one, and I can do it on the fly. 009 is my job. Oops. Why isn't this keyboard working? Why isn't that keyboard working? I'm having fun today. All right. Now I'm live. All right, there we go. Okay. 009 is my work order, and I can issue some items to our friend Gerald. And I'm going to issue him goggles. Hey, works. And I'm going to hit OK. Now, a couple of things, and the reason I'm showing you this is for a couple of reasons. I can go in and I can run a consumable report. And I want to list costs, and I want to see what we've been used for consumables. And here's our consumable report that tells us that we use $7.98 worth of consumables, okay? And it was issued to Gerald. But I could further go into this report and say, okay, well, that's great, but I want to do it for a specific job cost. In this case, 009. And I don't think it's going to tell there, it's 009. So my job, I'm going to go in and do a consumable report for job 009. I want to know what was issued to this job. It's going to be the same, but again, there's our report for all the consumables that were issued to this job. And so far, we've issued $7.98 worth of consumables to job 009. Just that easy. I can issue and track all of my consumables and know where they're going and be able to charge those back. That's the asset location part. The next part is the asset management. We took a quick look at the maintenance module, okay, where again we go in and we define an unlimited number of service tasks. It's pretty straightforward to go in and set up your service tasks. Here's our 6-month inspection. You can put quite a bit of detail into the service task at this point. Once we've done that, we assign the task to the item, okay, and then they come up on a service due. We create a work order from the service due. Just by going in here, create the service due work orders. This is what your work order would look like. And we're going to create a new work order here. This is the first work order in the system now. This is now a non-scheduled, so you can have a scheduled or a non-scheduled work order, okay? We're going to create a work order for, let's say, for our forklift here, and we're going to do an inspection on it. So we've set this up as a non-scheduled work order, but it would look exactly the same if it was a scheduled, rather than it would say scheduled here. And you'll notice it says now requested by BLK on today's date. BLK is how I logged in. Okay, that's my login, so that's why it's attributing that to me. I can change the status from requested to approved and to issued. Okay, now I'm ready to issue this work order. I can issue this work order to a vendor. If I issue it to an outside vendor, it's going to track that from that vendor. Oops, I didn't mean to hit that, sorry. Or I can do it in-house, okay? If I'm doing it in-house, then I can come in here and I can put in what work was done. Okay, well, this is a fourth, isn't it? Let's say. How much did it cost me? Well, my actual labor cost was, I don't know, $60 for labor, and we used $10 worth of material, okay? The downtime was 3 hours, and it was completed today's date, and I'm going to update last service. Well, I don't have anything scheduled on this, but anyway, we'll update last service, and we save this. And now we've closed this work order. If we go back to the main, it's now closed. And part of the reason I want to show you this is now we have a history. We go in here and we take a look at our maintenance history report, and it was 5608. And here now I can go back and take a look at this history of the service for this particular asset, which is a forklift. And it shows me here, okay, this is what we did. We did an inspection for safety and service problems, removed all coverings, inspected for wear. Our cost was $60 for the labor and $10 for materials. So far we've spent $70. If I had done 30 services, they would all show here, and I would have a grand total at the bottom for my labor and for my materials. So again, by going through the work order process, we now have recorded the service and have a complete service history for this item. On the replenishment module, what we do with the replenishment module allows us to set mins and maxes for our items. Here we have a min and max on our claw hammers, okay? More importantly, on our safety items, or our consumable items, for example, here we have a minimum of 12, our maximum is 36, our quantity on hand is 22. I can now take and I can run a low inventory report. And from that low inventory report, I can say, okay, I want to ignore the minimum. So what I'm telling the system is I want to bring everything back up to the maximum. If I wasn't ignoring the minimum, it wouldn't show up on this report until we drop below the minimum, okay? I'm going to ignore the minimum. Anything below the max is going to show up on here. And we should only have our goggles, I'm thinking, but we might, okay, we got the claw hammers too. So here's our safety goggles, okay? We have a quantity on hand of 2. The maximum is 36. We're below, and this is actually below the minimum. This would have showed up anyway. So we have these 2 items. And it tells me, okay, to get my goggles back up to my max, I need to order 24. And to get my hammers up to the max, we need to order 32. So that's my low inventory report based on the min and max I set. Okay? And again, I've ignored the minimum. We can now go in and we can now pull up a reorder worksheet. And our reorder worksheet is really the low inventory report. And I didn't ignore the minimum, so we're just going to do our claw hammer. Okay? So here we have our claw hammers. The difference between the low inventory report and the low in this worksheet is this worksheet allows us to edit a number of fields. We can edit the vendor, for example. Let's say we're getting a better deal from a different vendor today. The fellows over at Green's Tool Repair are giving us a better deal. They're only $8.99. So I can change the price. I can change the quantity in here. Well, 32 looks like a good number to me. And I can put in a date when they're going to be delivered tomorrow. Did I do that right? Yeah, okay. Once I've done this, I can have multiple vendors on here. I could have a different vendor for each item, or I could have multiple items. When I come up here now, it says create PO. At the system now, I'm going to create a purchase order for each vendor that I have on the worksheet. In this case, I've only have one, so we're going to create one purchase order. We've just created the purchase order. Now I can go in and I can pull up the purchase order. And if we pull up, well, there's the first purchase order right here, on the system. Here's a purchase order for 32 claw hammers. Okay? Tells me that I'm ordering 32, that I'm paying $8.99, that they're going to be here today. I can click on this little yellow button here, and I can email this directly to my vendor or directly to my purchasing department, whichever. Okay? This can be something, this purchase order could be something that's strictly internal to your ToolHound, or again, it could be something we could email this directly out to the vendor. Okay? So we've got a purchase order. Next, the items arrive. So we're going to go and we're going to receive inventory. And I'm going to receive inventory for the one purchase order we have in here. Okay? Purchase order number 1. And here's our receive inventory form. We can hit receive all. It changes, it says, okay, that we got all 20 or all 32 of them, and I hit process. And we've now received this inventory. Because we received it from the purchase order, the system automatically has updated our quantities. Okay? If we go into our claw hammers, we see now that our quantity on hand is up to 48, which is the max. Okay? So one of the real beauties of the replenishment module is that once you receive that order, boom, it automatically updates your quantities. There's nothing else to do. You don't have to go in and make any more adjustments. I'm just trying to see where we are on time here. Pretty close, I think, right now. I think I've covered most everything that I wanted to try and show you this afternoon. I think what I'd like to do now is turn things over to Ed Dreesen. Ed has some things he wants to talk to you about today. And first of all, I'd like to offer a big thanks to Ed for taking his time to participate this afternoon, and we really appreciate it, Ed.
No problem, Bill or Dave.
Right.
So
one.
Go ahead.
Give me a second, Ed. I'll open up that kit. Hang on. Okay.
All right, so my name is Ed Dries, and I'm lead planner right now at Nova Chemicals Corporation, just outside of Red Deer in Alberta. We operate now 5 issue locations, and we actually run on our own server. So we do everything off of our PC. And the reason why that is just because we have all the tool cribs on one site. We have 5 operating plants, but are all on one site. So it was easy for us to use a server. We've been running ToolHound now for probably about 10 years. And our biggest reason for going with the tracking system is we started off in one of our tool cribs, but on our major turnarounds where we could do up to 1,000 to 2,000 transactions a day, we needed something that we could track our tools and to reduce our costs on loss. That was our main reason. So we, because we do a turnaround every year, we went to the point of purchasing our own tools. So we wanted to track our assets and reduce our costs and our losses. So we looked for a software out there that was relatively cheap, but would give us good tracking capability. And we came up with ToolHound. The software is inexpensive to purchase. Probably the biggest cost is having to input all of your data into the system. And so that's probably the biggest thing I would have to say for ToolHound is if you're looking at a system is you want to make sure that you put your data in there cleanly because garbage in is garbage out. So if you want your reports to run clean, you want to make sure that you've got some sort of a system and categories set up for your tooling and in order to bring out good reports. So ToolHound was based out of Edmonton. We really like that because we're in Alberta, so it was a good fit for us to have support close to us. The online help was really good. We would usually, if we're in an outage and we ran into a problem, they would be there to help us out. So for the majority of what we use ToolHound for is for managing our tools, so it's issue and return. We do have one tool crib that's using the purchasing module where they're managing consumables and issuing out purchase orders, but for the most part for our shutdown, and my purposes was to issue in and out hand tools for our turnaround use. Probably the biggest thing that when we first started, we ran one turnaround without using an asset management, and coming into the next turnaround, we reduced our costs on losses by, I bet you, 90%. And basically what it ended up doing is it put the responsibility and some sort of tracking system back on the end user who was taking the tools. So we could go back and we made up agreements with our contractors to say that whatever is not returned is going to be coming off your bill. And so, of course, that's a big motivation factor. And ToolHound, with reports, we would download our scanners multiple times a day, and we could print out a report at the end of the day instantly and say, well, here you go. Either look for your tools or this is what you're going to be billed at the end of the day or at the end of the turnaround. So ToolHound was a very good fit for us. It's worked very well in the last, like I say, 10 years. We're still using it. Don't foresee changing it in the near future right now, and happy with it. That's about what I have to say.
Okay. Thanks, Ed. I guess now really, if you have any questions, anybody jump in and for either Ed or myself, and we'll answer them as best we can.
This is Dave from Jason Mechanical.
Yeah, Dave.
Good question. The RFID tags versus the barcode tags, is one more durable and on a tool? If it's used outside, does one hold up better for wear and tear than the other? The tag itself?
Okay, for outdoor use,
as a
really I've seen barcodes that were outside on ladders for it was like a 5-year period of time and were still fully readable.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess really the best honest answer I could give you, I don't know if a RFID tag would last as good as that or not.
How do you attach the RFID tag? Is it self-adhesive?
they're a self-adhesive, same method as the barcodes. The RFID are a bigger tag, okay, than a barcode. The smallest RFID we're using are like 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, okay, whereas your barcode would be 1 1/4 by half. So they are, they're quite a bit bigger. We have two styles. One is where it would adhere, like they're very thin. The RFID tag is quite a thin unit. I mean, they're 1/32 of an inch thick, I would say, that kind of thing.
Can you put it inside of a tool?
Well, that's an ideal setup. Is if you put them inside the tool. Now, that tool must have a plastic casing. I mean, RFID and metal, don't really get along that well.
Okay. All right.
We do have a second tag that we use as well that has a foam backing on it, so that if you are putting it on a metal object, not inside but on the outside of a metal object, you get some separation between the metal and the antenna of the RFID tag. Okay.
Understood.
So you have both options: one where it goes directly on, or one where it has, I'd say 1/8 of an inch or 3/32 of an inch of foam backing.
Okay, I understand. Thank you for answering the question.
You bet. You bet. We have a limited number of customers that are using the RFID. Most of the customers that use RFID is in a situation where, there's something more than meets the eye. Like, for example, one company is a roofing company. Well, they get a lot of tar and bitumen on their tools and equipment. You get that on top of a barcode, you can't read it. So the RFID is an absolutely perfect solution in their industry.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have one. Under the maintain part numbers, I saw a tab there that said rental rates.
Oh, yes.
Is that for the contractor, like when we're doing T&M and we're renting this piece of equipment it's for our use, but our rental
okay.
As an income based in mechanicals?
Okay, the rental, and I meant to talk about that now. Thank you for asking me. The rental rate, what the rental is, we have two ways of tracking rental. With the ToolHound desktop, we have an external rental, okay? And what that does is the rental charge is triggered when we issue an item, and the rental charge stops when we return it. And we can go in and we can set up multiple rental rates, okay? If you have different divisions, let's say you're different divisions in your company, or different contractors that may be borrowing and renting your tools from you. Okay, so you can set up different rental rates. Again, the rental rate, the rental charge starts when you issue the item, and it ceases when you stop. And the rental then module then keeps track. And if we get any luck, we should see a rental billing report here. Oh, okay, don't have anything. But anyway, we have a rental billing report then that shows the charges, when the item went out, when it came back, what the charges were. We set up an hourly, daily, weekly, and monthly rate along with a minimum. The system is going to charge the best rate. So, in other words, if we had an hourly rate of $5 an hour and a say a $40 daily rate. Well, if it was out for 10 hours, we're going to give it a daily rate of $40.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and so on and so forth across. Okay. We also have what we call an internal rental. That is only available on the on-site product or online product. The internal rental is designed so that if you transfer inventory from your main warehouse out to the job site tool crib, okay, the job site issue location, that transfer is going to trigger a rental charge. So as long as we've got that equipment out on that job site, we're going to charge a rental charge for it until it's transferred back to the main warehouse.
Okay, now
so go ahead.
When you're maintaining your part numbers, is there somewhere to keep track of all of the rental rates of what we would charge? Not that it's out, but let's say, if I have the welding machine, okay, and every day that it's out on the job site, I want to charge, say, $100 a day. Now, is there anywhere to track that so when I take it out, all I got to do is enter how many days they use it, and then
you wouldn't even have to do that. If you were wanted to do that, what we would do is you'd set up your rental rates in here, okay?
Right.
So I hit new, and I'm going to set up a new rental rate for Dave's Contracting, for example. Okay, and that's my own company. That's who operates. My hourly rate would be, say, $10 an hour, so on and so forth. My daily rate is going to be $100. Okay. All right. Now, as soon as I issue this out, now what I would do is if I save this now when I set up my employees in here, okay, this employee here, he works for Dave's Contracting. Well, that's the rate that I've got here. Okay. So that's the rates I'm going to charge when this guy has issued something. Okay. I'm also going to go in here and I'm going to say, okay, my contractors, and I'm going to say, okay, I want to charge rents. Now, anytime anything's issued to Dave's Contracting, okay, we're going to charge rent. Now, when I issue, let's go back in here for that matter. We can do this. Let me see now. I'm just trying to think what part was it we had when we issued. Okay, this compressor. Is that what we set the rental rates? Okay, all right. So we're going to issue, let's go in here. I'm going to complete this. I'm going to go, well, it doesn't matter. I'm only going to do it for a day. Okay. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how this all works. We're going to issue something to an employee, and I think it was Gerald. And I'm not going to worry about that right now. And I'm going to issue him that compressor. And I'm going to backdate it. We're going to say we did it yesterday. Okay, so we're going to go back and change this to the 8th. Backdate and put the 8th in here. So we're telling them we did it yesterday. And I'm going to process. So now yesterday we issued it. Now we're going to return it. Okay? So we're going to go in here and we're going to pull up our buddy Gerald. And I'm going to do it the easy way here. Come down here. Okay, here is the compressor. Do a return. It's okay. And I'm going to, today's date, return it. Now, if I did everything right, and I can't say I can guarantee that, but we should have a rental billing report. All right. What in the world did I do wrong?
The 2, I think it was your 2. You had 0803, not 0903. And then the from was different.
Oh, hang on. In the report?
Yes. See?
Oh. I don't know. That shouldn't be.
Yeah.
That's from the 3rd to today, and that should have been yesterday's. I've done something wrong, but anyway, if I'd done it right, what we did that as soon as we issued that out, we started.
Remember, garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm telling you.
You had 0810, I believe.
Well, you know what? I bet you. Hang on. Let me just check them. I know what I did.
No, we're getting the gist of it. You don't have to backtrack.
Right. We understand.
This isn't a test or anything.
Yeah. I don't know where I buggered it up, but anyway,
okay.
We should have had a rental charge in. And so again, as soon as we issue that item out, provided you've set it up for that contractor and that's the guy you're issuing it to, bingo, it's going to start a rental charge. And then as soon as we return it, it stops that rental charge.
All right. Now, does software integrate with any other accounting programs?
Well, you can integrate with just about anything out there with your import and export. You can export your reports. Just about any of the reports in here we can export. Let me show you what I'm getting at here. Okay, where's our inventory master report? We can export this report in a number of formats, okay? So I can export it in Excel, for example, okay, and a lot of different other formats, most commonly Excel. And then you can turn around and import that into your other program. And most of the accounting software will allow you to import from an Excel spreadsheet. So
right.
That way you go. That's what primarily our customers are doing for integration with other systems. One of the things, while we're kind of on the subject as well, is for initial setup, you can import your data as well.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have your inventory information in an Excel spreadsheet, you can import that into the system. Your employee information, you can import that into the system as well for your initial setup.
Okay.
You're not going through everything, doing it all manually. So.
Can you import from Access?
Did I answer your question?
Can you import from Access? Microsoft Access?
Any other questions while we're still here, folks? No more questions?
I don't have it.
Well,
no. Good.
Okay. Well, we're right on the hour, so I think time-wise, I'm quite happy with the way these went there. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you learned a little bit about ToolHound, and If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call. You can find all our contact information on the web at www.toolhound.com.
Okay.
And give us a holler, and we'll be glad to answer any questions or help you out any way we can.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
All right. Okay, thanks. Thank you, Ed.
Yep.
Ed.
No problem, Dave.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.